Just imagine, for over a year, you've been sealed inside a gigantic wooden boat, tossed around on an ocean that has no shores. All you hear is the groaning of the wood and the sounds of thousands of animals. And then, one day, it all stops. The sound of the rain is gone. Today, we're diving deep into Genesis chapter 8, a story that isn't really about an ending, but about the very first sunrise on a world that's been born all over again.
So, where does this incredible story come from? Well, it comes from right here, from these ancient words. This isn't just some made-up tale. It's a record of a moment that completely changed everything. We're going to walk through it together, verse by verse, to really feel what it must have been like. All right, let's get into it.
So, here's our game plan for this journey. We're going to feel the quiet waiting inside the ark, experience the moment it finally lands, follow Noah's clever bird scouts, get that first peek at the brand new world, take those first steps outside, and finally, hear the incredible promise that changes everything forever.
Okay, so let's really try to put ourselves on that ark. You've been cooped up for a year, the crazy storm is over, the rain has stopped, but now what? What actually happens when the door to a completely new world is about to swing open? That's the big question we're exploring today.
Our story picks up in an almost deafening silence. The terrifying, thunderous roar of the flood has finally gone quiet. All that's left is the gentle rocking of the ark on a vast, gray, endless sea. Inside, after months and months of chaos, there's just this heavy, profound stillness. They're safe, sure, but they're waiting. And you have to wonder, what exactly are they waiting for?
And right in the middle of all that quiet waiting, we get these words, maybe the most important words in the whole story. But God remembered Noah. This one sentence is the hinge on which everything turns. But what does that really mean, for God to remember?
You see, in our everyday lives, remembering is something that happens in our heads, right? It's a thought. But in the Bible, it's completely different. It's an action word. When the text says God remembered, it means he was starting to act. It means the rescue plan was officially kicking into gear. It's go time.
Can you even imagine the feeling? After 150 days of just floating, with no sense of direction, all of a sudden, a deep, grinding shudder runs through the entire ark, a scraping sound from deep below, and then, nothing. Total stillness. For the first time in 5 months, the floor under their feet is completely, perfectly solid. They've landed.
The text gives us this super specific detail. They landed on the mountains of Ararat. This is a massive sign of hope. They're on solid ground. But, and this is a big but, the journey isn't over. They're on a mountain peak, but the rest of the world is still covered in water. The waiting has to continue.
So think about this problem. How do you explore a brand new world that you can't actually step into yet? Well, this is where Noah basically becomes a scientist. From that one little window in the ark, he starts this really careful experiment, sending out 2 very different birds to be his eyes in the sky. Now, just look at this timeline. It shows an incredible amount of patience. I mean, even after he can see the tops of other mountains, Noah waits another 40 days before doing anything. Then he starts sending the birds out, week after week. This isn't some mad dash for freedom. It's a careful, patient, calculated search for proof that the world is really ready for them.
And Noah's choice of birds here, it's absolutely brilliant. Think about it. A raven is a tough scavenger. It can land on pretty much anything, even things still floating in the water. So seeing it fly back and forth doesn't really tell Noah much about the land. But a dove is different. It's more delicate. It needs a real place to rest, like a tree branch on dry land. The dove's behavior, that was the real test.
And then, this happens. The moment that changes everything. The dove comes back, and in its beak is a freshly picked olive leaf. After a whole year of seeing nothing but gray water and brown wood, can you imagine that sudden flash of bright green? Wow! It's so much more than just a leaf. It's a message. It's proof that life is coming back. The world is actually healing.
So when Noah sends the dove out a 3rd time and it doesn't come back, he gets it. The dove found a home. The world is ready. He takes off the ark's covering and finally sees it with his own eyes, dry ground stretching out. But even now, even with proof, he doesn't just throw the doors open. He waits. He waits for the official command.
And then the command finally comes from the very one who started this whole journey in the first place. Come out of the ark. And it's not just for Noah's family.
Every single creature is told to come out, to be fruitful, and to start the huge job of filling the earth again. The long, long wait is officially over.
Just picture it. That enormous door creaks open. Bright, warm sunlight just floods into the dark belly of the ark. Imagine taking that first breath of fresh, clean air after being inside for a year. The smell of wet earth and new life. The feeling of solid ground under your feet that doesn't rock and sway. They are stepping out into a silent, empty, and beautiful new world.
370 days. Just let that number sink in for a second. They spent over a full year of their lives inside that ark before they took that first step back onto dry land.
So what is the very first thing Noah does? Does he build a house? Does he look for food? No. Before anything else, he builds an altar. He gathers some of the animals that were designated for this exact purpose, and he makes an offering. His very first act in this brand new world is simply to say thank you.
And this powerful act of gratitude gets an absolutely incredible response. God makes a promise, and it's not just a promise to Noah. It's a promise to the entire world for all of time. It's a promise that's going to set the rhythm for life on Earth from that moment on.
I mean, this promise is just pure poetry, isn't it? This is God establishing the reliable, comforting rhythm of our world. Planting time and harvest time, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night. It's a promise that our world will be stable, predictable, and that the kind of chaos they just lived through will never, ever happen again. So, what can a story this ancient teach us today? Well, the Bible isn't just a history book, it's also a guide for helping us become better people. In Jewish tradition, our character traits are called midot, or our dimensions. And wow, did Noah show us some incredible midots in this chapter.
Honestly, this whole chapter is like a masterclass in good character. First, you have Noah's unbelievable patience, waiting for months and months, even when he could literally see land. Then, there's his trust, sending that little dove out, believing in a future he couldn't see yet. And finally, his powerful, overwhelming gratitude, making his very first action in the new world an act of thanks.
And that brings us to this week's Midot Challenge for you and your family. Your new beginning doesn't have to be surviving a flood, right? It could be finishing a big school project. It could be the start of a new sports season, or even just the start of the weekend. So find one small new beginning in your life this week, and, just like Noah, make your first act one of gratitude. Maybe thank your parents for something, help out a sibling, or just take a quiet moment to appreciate it.
Thank you for joining us for this complete journey through the Pardes. We hope these ancient truths help you and your family improve your own dimensions this week. If you enjoyed this full chapter deep dive, please like, subscribe, and share which part of the journey touched your soul in the comments. We'll see you in the next chapter.